I didn't have the funds to actually proceed with paying child support payments.
Prude versus Caldwell. Mr. Caldwell is before the court today for an adjourned bench warrant hearing. He did resolve his warrant through front of the court, so there's no bond to address today. He has a monthly obligation of $442.50. His last payment was May 12th of 2023 for $101.72, and that was through an income withholding. This is the second bench warrant that Mr. Caldwell has had. He is, for 2 months of compliance, he should have paid $885. He's paid actually nothing voluntarily. There was a $300 lump sum that I noted on the prep sheet, and that was to resolve the bench warrant through front of the court. His total arrears through the end of July are $6,042.09. Front of the court would like the court to be aware, this enforcement action actually began a year ago before the referee Bradfield. He was court ordered into leap twice. He failed to comply twice. And he has been reporting employers and failing to appear twice through that years since this action began. But we've never been able to establish and maintain an income withholding past just a couple of weeks for Mr. Caldwell. So he's before the court today.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Perkins, do you dispute or contest any of the statements made by Ms. Brown?
No, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions for Ms. Brown?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Then Mr. Caldwell, we'll have you raise your right hand. We'll have you sworn in, and then your attorney will ask you some questions.
Okay.
Sir, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Perkins.
Thank you. You do admit that there is an active child support case with you. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the amount that you're supposed to pay at $442.50, do you know how that came about, what you were making at the time that came about?
No, ma'am. At the time that they did put me on child support, they actually didn't have no clarification of what I made back then or present now.
And are you currently working?
Yes, ma'am.
And how long have you been working?
It's been about 2 weeks now.
Have you gotten your first paycheck yet?
No, ma'am. We get paid bi-weekly. So that would be this week.
So this new job, do you think you'll be able to pay the $442.50 per month?
No, ma'am. Not based off of my previous pay stubs, no.
And so this amount of money that you've been ordered to pay child support is too high and too excessive. Would you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you made any attempts to file child support paperwork to change the amount of money that's owed for child support?
At the time that I did do it, it was in the past, and they were telling me I had to do a whole lot of like mailing in paperwork because it was around COVID. Previously, I have looked into omitting in my motion, but I just don't know exactly what motion packet I need to present with because I do want everything reviewed for this case.
And do you believe that this child support was set thinking that you don't have any overnights with your child?
Yes. Also, it shows up that I haven't had Sophia Caldwell in the past 3 years, 0 nights, and that's not true also.
Okay. And how often would you say that you get her?
Recently, I would say at least a week, a month. I get her for 4 or 5 days, once a month. And in the past, I have actually gotten her 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 4 or 5 days.
And are you willing to work with a friend of the court officer, provide paycheck stubs?
Yes, ma'am.
And you want to be able to pay a fair amount for child support, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're willing to let them know where you're working and any changes that may occur?
Yes.
Are you asking for an adjournment of this case to get that opportunity to be able to give that income information over to the friend of the court and set up income withholding?
Yes, ma'am.
And also, do you want an adjournment to give you the time to file the paperwork for the change in child support?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything else that you want to tell the court with regard to this matter?
Pretty much, just everything that I feel like is on file. I don't feel like it's been up to date in the past couple years. So I really want to get my information in so everything, could be up to date and it could be, exactly what I owe. The only other thing that I would ask is that, in the past, I have had problems with the mother on whether picking up or dropping off my child. So, even going into getting reviewed over the whole case, I would, like to get everything reviewed on both sides, preferably.
Okay, thank you. No other questions.
Mr. Caldwell, in this matter, you've stated that you wish to pay a fair amount, but you haven't paid anything for substantial since the last payment in May. So we've got basically almost 3 months now that you haven't paid anything. Why?
Because I've been having Sophia and it says down that I don't have her at all. And due to the case that I've been looking into filing the motion that I've talked to numerous people about getting this motion in, and I want to say in the past 2-3 weeks. And I was actually recently employed at TRMI through WSI, and when I contacted whoever I talked to, she told me that I never worked there and that I haven't been contacted through them. And I want to say, I believe that was literally back in May,
Okay.
moving into April and into June.
So how long you've been at TRMI for 3 weeks?
No, actually, I am employed through Resource MFG right now. They have me employed at like different various locations. They are a temp agency.
Okay. But you were at TRMI.
Yeah.
For how long were you at TRMI?
I want to say up to like 3 weeks. I'm pretty sure I could probably provide 3 to possibly 4 pay stubs through them.
Okay. Well, again, my question is during the time that since May, you have been employed at different times, but you haven't made any payments. And you said you're willing to pay a fair amount. Why haven't you paid anything then?
When I was working through TRMI, they were shortening the hours for temporarily. I was going through WSI, also another temp agency. So my hours were shorted a lot back then. And I want to say not even 2 of my paychecks were even above the amount of the child support order itself.
Okay, and getting back to my original question, I'm going to ask you a third time. Why didn't you pay something then if you couldn't pay the full amount?
Due to the factor that I didn't actually have the income to actually be able to pay anything on anything at the time. Also, I want to remind that at the time that this was going on, I also did have bench warrants previous and I believe after that date that you're talking about.
Okay,
That I had paid
what's that have to do with making a payment?
That's what I was told, that if I did pay off the bench warrant, it would go towards my proceedings of what I owe for my rearages.
Okay, again, I'm going to go with a fourth time now, and this is going to be the last time I ask you. Why didn't you pay anything during that time? Whatever it might have been, $10, $20, $50. Why didn't you pay something?
I actually didn't know that I was able to come down there and make a payment, but also again, during that time frame, I didn't have the source of income to make payments.
Well, you had income, sir. Sir, you acknowledge that you worked at TRMI, then you've acknowledged you're now at the current resource, and you haven't made any payments, although you've been working and making income. So why would this court then not find you in contempt of court?
Because in the past and even right now, I have been shortage on my hours through my temp agency.
Again, it doesn't matter that you're shorted. If you would normally make $400 a week, and let's say you're shorted and you only make $200, you could have made some sort of a payment towards your support obligation. You made half as much, you could have made a payment of half as much. Why didn't you do that?
At the time that I was supposed to be making these payments, I was severely in debt. I have not been making what they say I've been making. I didn't have the funds to actually proceed with paying child support payments. At the exact same time, I was dealing with bench warrants back and forth that I had to pay off, whether going to work or not.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do, sir, is I don't find your explanation very credible in any event. I am going to adjourn this matter to October 4, 2023 at 8:45 a.m. And I will tell you, sir, if, and you're the one that has to, well, what the court is going to do is I'll send the matter to the, for a referee hearing on a support review. And that way you can get that started. I will tell you between now and then, if you make no payments, you better plan on going to jail then, sir. Okay?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I don't know what you're making, so I can't say, but if you make no payments on the October 4th date, you will find yourself in jail. So if you make payments, the court will take that into consideration as to whether you stay out of jail.
Okay.
Your Honor, just so for the court is clear, the review and modification that you're ordering, do you want that conducted in the front of the court office, or does that need to be scheduled before referee Bradfield?
Send it back before the, well, send it to an investigation because they're going to need those numbers. So send it to an investigation through the front of the court. And then at that point, they can schedule once that's concluded, they can have a hearing with the referee.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. The court will end this matter at 10:32 a.m. You're free to go. Have a good day.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Brown.
Thank you.